Thank you for listening to all of this about our 10 laws of high performance collaboration. We, of course, intend for this to make a meaningful difference in your life and in your work together. And so that's what we want to talk about. How do people turn this into something? You've heard it all. Now what? We don't want this to be one of those things you just leave on the heard list and it doesn't make a difference. So what would we offer folks in terms of how to convert it into value?
Well, one of the things that we see with individuals, with teams, with organizations is they'll get a new insight, either about themselves or about how a team's performing, and then they stop. They stop at the level of insight. So the biggest thing is do something. Pick one thing, pick one law that you think, oh, that one sounded really interesting or meaningful, or like there's something in that for this team that I'm on right now, whether that's a project team or a leadership team, that you think could make a difference, and either take an action that we recommended or use one of the tools that's in the show notes, or have your team listen to it and discuss it and see what they get from it and see for them what's the learning and the new action that's possible. But really take an action out of listening to it, because otherwise it'll live like all the other podcasts or books that you have digested over the last year or so. And we really do think that taking an action and then pausing and learning from it and seeing what else there is from there to do next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do not consider insight to be learning. Mm-hmm. Insight is like the opening of the possibility of learning, because we think you act your way to new ways of working. And just having the insight can be titillating, and it's lovely to think a thing I hadn't thought and think that's a good thought to think. And the evidence of how good a thought it is to think is if we do something with it. And I really like the way you were pointing just then about just get your real life in mind. Because this is not, what are you going to do out of this to add something to your life? No. We don't want to add activity. We want to add value. Mm-hmm. The way to do that is pick something you're in. Pick something that's going on. Pick something that really does matter. If you pick something that matters to you, that involves collaborating with other people, and you have a commitment to do it even better than you're doing it already, just bring that to mind. And then we think at minimum, as Robin said, scan the 10 laws and see which one of them seems relevant right now. And what does it mean what I'm going to do differently? Mm-hmm. We found that when we've done a version of this many years ago, that what we got a lot of feedback on is there would be some teams, what they would do is pick a law a month. So if you've got a project that you know is going to last for 10 or 12 months, that everybody listens to one. And then you say, what are we noticing about what we see that we didn't see before, we're doing differently, that we didn't do before? So you can have this shared inquiry going through all of them. That's another way to do it. But what we ask you to do is you trust what you're committed to as a source of interest that attracts you to at least one of the laws and putting something into action.
And be ready to learn from it. Human beings are messy. Collaboration can be messy. So it's not unlikely that you'll give something a try. It still won't go exactly the way you thought. Great, that's just a moment to enact one of the laws around learning and see, well, what is it? How did you apply it? The other thing to know is that there's a lot of interplay between the laws. And so while we were saying pick one, you may start with that one and then notice like, oh, that law of presence, that one, that was actually what got in my way. So you may see that some of that interplay also makes things messy or challenging. So how do you actually find your strength in the face of the disappointments that are known to come, and also just recognize like welcome to being human and the challenges of putting a group of people together and hoping that they can work through all of their individual points of view to come to some sort of common future or find the things to appreciate. So none of this that we've outlined today is easy.
No.
Another thing you could do to create some relevant interest in action is whatever the project is or the team effort that you pick that you're going to really be considering, what you can do is you get the team together, and however much time you have left on it, let's say we have 6 months to produce this miracle, or we have 2 years, whatever it is, and you ask them 2 questions. And the first one is, okay, imagine we're at the end of that 2 years and we failed. What can you predict would be the 2 or 3 reasons why we would fail? And let everybody answer that privately first. Like, don't do that as a public brainstorm. Everybody thinks for themselves first. Then you ask people, okay, imagine that it's 2 years from today and we've succeeded. We've exceeded what we said we would do, and we're all really happy with the achievement. What are the 2 or 3 things that explain our success? Then you have the team share what they all said on both sides of those. Then together you look at the laws and say, now each one of us look at, given what I just predicted and what I want to cause, which one of these do I want to take on? And it's another way. We've seen somebody did that exact thing before in Ireland, and it was hugely effective. They each picked a law that hit for them, like, wow, that would make sure the good thing happened and the bad thing didn't. And so it was personal and real for people because they got to choose which one they were going to focus on based on the future they were trying to create.
Well, and if it's even hard to think about what the context might be for trying to apply it, I think a first step is just start noticing these laws showing up in your day-to-day. Because I do think that that's a common point of resistance that we get when we do work with a lot of teams is this, I'm already so busy, when am I going to have the time to do all of this? No, these are designed to be a mirror of what's already happening. So it's, what's the conversation I'm already in? What's the work I'm already doing? Where is there something I'm already collaborating with people on? And can I just see evidence that this is true and that these things are really at work? And then that might lead to some inspiration about where you can be practicing it and applying it.
As we said in the opening, our promise is that when people actually apply these as laws to be true to, you will produce better results with less time, money, and stress, which means this isn't adding time to your life. It's actually subtracting time. This isn't adding stress, it's subtracting stress. And this isn't adding money.
Right.
We really think that anybody who takes this on, like we have and supporting each other, we know you can actually make life better. Not just make life more cluttered with another thing I got to figure out time for.
And it might just feel a little bit wonky at first because it's a different way of showing up. It's a different way of operating. It's a different way of observing. So if it feels a little bit uncomfortable, that's not the signal. It's not doing something. It actually might be the signal that you're moving in the right direction.
And in the vein of something we said earlier about make the implicit explicit, if you want to try something different, one way to have it feel slightly less awkward is to just name it, to just say, hey, I see a thing on this team that I think might make a difference. Would we all be willing to play with this particular idea and see what we learn from it? You don't have to do it in perpetuity, but give it a try and see, does it make a difference over the course of a couple of weeks or a month? And then stop and reflect about what you learned. But just naming, hey, I want to try something different. I wouldn't recommend doing this to people, but go in and try and do it with the team and say you'd like to try something that's maybe a little different than the way you've been operating up until now and enlist their support, actually bring them into the conversation.
Beautiful.
So we ask you to have a fit of enlightened selfishness. Think about what you care about. And only put this to work for the things that you already think are important. Then we have a chance to make a difference. We don't want to add clutter to your life. We just want to add benefit.
So as a reminder, we did also include many resources, worksheets, different things that can help with the practical application of each of the laws in the description, if you're watching on the internet, or in the show notes if you're just listening on a podcast. So you can utilize those different resources. If you're wishing there was something else or you have a question, we're also including ways to stay in touch with us and contact us in each of those places as well. And great other resources if you were to try and explore more of these things or inhabit it for a little while. We do have our 2 books, The Communication Catalyst and The Vitality Imperative. Anything else I'm missing out of resources? The rest of the podcast episodes, lots of those hit on common challenges of leadership or challenges of living through the working world.
Connect with us on LinkedIn. We've got lots of blogs and other resources that we post there as well.
And if there's a challenge that we're not aware of, let us know, because we want to know about it so that we can have something to say about it.
If you try something and it doesn't work, or you try something and it does work, we'd love to hear both of those stories. So anything that you experience or give a whirl out of listening to this series, we'd love to hear about.
Well, thank you very much for listening, and we do hope that it makes a difference, and we hope to see you the next time that we have the opportunity to be together.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.